Well, time once again to take a look at the morning papers with former royal photographer Ian Lloyd and the former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson. So welcome back to both of you. We're delving back inside the papers again this hour, aren't we? And you've picked out a story in the Times, first of all. It's a double-page spread reflecting on the service yesterday at St Paul's and thousands at St Paul's service, they say, to mark a rare jewel of a life. Quite a moment, this.
You know what, Anna, with everything else that went on yesterday, this has almost sort of like moved down the agenda. It's quite far into the newspapers. It's not mentioned on any of the actual page ones. It's a lovely double-page spread there with the amazing picture down the aisle of St Paul's, all the people there. And it was the first time the anthem was sung with God Save the King. And it's like, oh wow. And then it starts sinking in a little bit. And there's a lovely picture there of a mum with a baby sitting in the pew as well. And there were 2,000 ordinary people that were just there, just, you know, giving their thanks to Her Majesty. And it would have been lovely time to have been there, incredibly moving. It's just worth commenting on that there was so much else going on that it is far down the news agenda as it is, really. It's just lovely images to look at.
And that real mixture of ceremony and ordinariness.
A sign of things changing, isn't it? I mean, you know, in the Queen's time when she went to St Paul's, there was always the great and good ambassadors, you know, distant members of the family and so on, but politicians, but not really members of the public, just in their day dress and you know, t-shirts and people with babies, as you said, and it was quite fascinating.
And maybe sign of how different the monarchy will be under King Charles. Let's move on though to the Daily Express next, because it's something that you perhaps don't think about at first. There's so many emotions to deal with when you hear about the death of the Queen, but they have got an article here that shows about what they call the Great Royal Rebranding, and a reminder that the Queen's image is on so much of our lives, from our coins to our pillar boxes.
For 70 years, all we've known is the Queen on our stamps, on our money, on our post boxes, literally on everything. And all of that is going to have to change. And the one thing that caught me up short was the prayers. The Book of Common Prayers is going to have to change, because it's all about referring to her in the prayer. And it's going to have to be written to be him, the King. And it's just like little things like that, and it's like, you know, pledges of allegiance, and there are so many. And
passports, they used to say Her Britannic Majesty. I don't know whether it's going to be His Britannic if they do that phrase now, but
royal warrants, they're all going to have to change as well. Yes.
And this is an issue for all those countries where she has been sovereign.
Yes.
You know, many countries.
Because for so long you haven't had to change it, and now suddenly, policemen's helmets and caps.
Yeah.
They're not going to have to change.
So much to think about.
And I think when all this starts happening, that's when it's going to sink in that she is no longer with us, and we now have King Charles. It still sounds, it's going to take a while.
My mother's 100 in 2 weeks' time, and she's rather disappointed she won't be getting a telegram from the Queen. So we'll wait to see if they've got them ready for the King.
One of the first from King Charles, though.
Yeah, that might be an extraordinary moment in itself. Yeah. Let's take a look at an article in the Express as well, and this is some cartoons. Explain what this is showing.
I wanted to mention this because obviously these are on social media a lot, and if we think back to the Platinum Jubilee in June, and I can't remember the lady's name, she's a great cartoonist artist, and she did that very poignant image, you can see it there, of the Queen wandering off, holding Paddington's hand after that amazing sketch she did with him, and the corgi and the flags, and it was very poignant then. But now, Anna, when she really is walking off, gonna cry, it just, I don't know, I think that cartoon particularly sums up where we are now. She's going off, and hopefully Philip will be able to meet her, and it's just, to me, that means so much now, that cartoon, more than it did, obviously, for the Jubilee as well.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things that will really touch people, won't they, in these days.
It's the little things, it's the simple little things that make you think about this.
And just to lift the spirits, we have very little time, but we have Queen of Mischief in the Eye, and I know that you had an anecdote that you wanted to tell us.
Yeah, I've just done a book called The Queen, and I interviewed one of her relatives, and he said that they were in the tiny chapel at Windsor, and the guest speaker, the guest minister, didn't turn up. He got the wrong day. So the Queen's sitting there with nobody to nobody to conduct the service. And she turned around to the congregation. She said, "Well, I am head of the Church of England. I may as well do it myself." You know.
That's
She was so
fantastic.
great. And then obviously the Paddington, that sketch as we mentioned, and obviously the Olympics when she parachuted in, and people actually thought she'd done that. There was one sort of like ambassador who said, "Did she really do that?" And it's like to Daniel Craig, when she talked to Daniel Craig, and you go, "Daniel, no, she didn't." And then when she was talking about that herself, she actually commented and she said, "I thought the Corgis acted rather well in that. I can't do her accent." So she just had this amazing sense of humour. And I think now, obviously, it's incredibly sad, but it's so important to remember that she was queen, but she was also a woman. She had a wicked sense of humour, and her and Philip used to giggle together when things went wrong, like slapstick things like people dropping things in front of them while tripping over. So I think I'd like to take that away from this morning and think about the fun woman, and that, God rest her soul, and hopefully she's reunited with her husband.
Okay, well, Dawn Neeson in Lloyd, it's been a pleasure to have you to go through the papers and how they've covered the events of the last 24 hours. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
So we're here live at Buckingham Palace as the crowds gather once again. The sun is out. It's a Saturday. There may well be even more people than yesterday, which saw hundreds of people coming to pay tribute to the Queen. And of course, for those staying at home, you can watch on television at 10 o'clock this morning the Accession Council proclaiming the new monarch in a formal ceremony seen on television for the first time in its history. Live coverage continuing at the top of the hour.